Hey, HR friends, welcome back. So we made it to the 4-8 emotional 6.5 day sequence. We're going to talk about day one. Day one is in this white rectangle, and as always, we start out by talking about this unseen pattern of polarity moments. You see, we exist in an emotional construct, sentient space-time reality. That's why we talk about these emotional 6.5 day sequences. Now, once we broke the mathematics of this construct, what we were able to do is understand how polarity moments elevate and then fall, elevate and then fall. And that's what this pattern is showing you. Now, this is super important to understand because within this construct, please be aware that we are all designed to be defensive, which makes us want to work through our emotions in negative ways. How so? Well, our emotions, when we get upset, what they do is they create this idea that we're going to do one of two things. We're either going to run away from our problems and ignore it, or we're going to stand up and fight for our problems and make them worse. This is the fight or flight defensive mechanism. Now, this unseen pattern that we're showing you here. We mapped it out. We mapped it out into the future. We know when it's going to elevate. We know when it's going to manipulate us. So this is not only manipulating us at the individual level, but because every life form that exists in this sentient space-time reality is being manipulated by this pattern, it's allowing us to make predictions of what's going to happen in the bigger picture. Think of it like our collective genetics. It's the predetermined path that's going to happen if we're unaware of these moments. Now, super important that we bring you to this awareness because once you see when these moments are elevating, you can't stop it from activating your defensive system of control. But what you can do is be aware that it's going to happen and you can override it manually. How? You have to use your conscious choice, your willpower. You have to use your willpower to overcome your defensive nature. And if you can do that, what happens is you're able to eliminate stress. Why is that important? Well, stress accumulates to accelerate aging, and stress accumulates to create future states of disease. So, those are the first two things that you're going to benefit from by understanding this pattern. Now, when we talk about day one here in the 4-8 sequence, the 4-8 sequence is all about the bigger picture or our routines. And are our routines balanced for our families, but not just our families, for all the families in this interconnected experience. And if you're out of balance, if you're over investing in your family or you're under investing in the families in your community, then you're going to have problems with your body in this next section here. Okay, we're going to talk about that when we get down into the objective portion. But I'm trying to kind of connect the dots here so you can see what's going to happen. So, this next 6.5 day sequence is all about how you contribute to the family in the bigger picture. And are you creating a family atmosphere that, if replicated, leaves this world a better place for all of us? Now, in our previous 12 hours that we discussed at the end of the 3-7, we really had a lot of first person elevation. Now, that's dropped off almost to nothing here. Now, when we look at these charts, if we get to a level 4 or above a 4, that's really going to start to activate our defensive design. So you can see in first person, not so much. When we get to the second 12 hours, there's a little elevation here. Our big concern, though, is third person. Well, what's the difference between these two? First person is all the people in your general sphere, the people you see on a day-to-day basis, your coworkers, your community members. And what's going to happen if this is elevated is you're going to likely have conflict with them. You're going to be annoyed with their routines or their lack of communication, and it's going to create unproductive or negative conversations that don't bring relationships stronger or team effort stronger. It actually creates division. Now, that's not our worry here. But what our worry here is going to be is the bigger picture. Okay. So when third person agitation is way up, this is how individuals see the bigger picture and what they want to happen. Now, every individual is different. So we all want different outcomes at the bigger level. The truth is this, when we move down here and talk about objective, you're going to see what we're all supposed to be working together, and that's going to eliminate this conflict. But that's not going to stop how we feel today. So this is going to be a red alert day because you can see there is a ton of elevation. 4 is where we worry. It starts at a 4 and stays above a 4 this entire 24-hour period of time. Now, this is the combined moment. So what we do is we combine first person and third person so you can see how they add together because stress is messy. If you're stressed out at home and you see something on the news you don't like, well, that's going to make it hard not to be stressed at home anymore. So we really encourage people to look at this top chart because it really sets the tone here. All right, so that's enough about what's going on. And I think we've given you a good explanation of why it's important to understand this pattern because, again, if we don't understand this pattern, it is literally creating a negative future for all of us. And if you look around, that's exactly what's happening. Things aren't getting better with our climate, things aren't getting better between our nations. Actually, everything's going exactly as planned at this exact moment in time. Now, we have the ability to change that plan, but to do that, we really have to understand what the overall objective here is. Now, the first part of the objective is to overcome your defensive design and not make more stress for yourself and more stress for the people around you. Why? Well, this is why. Because we're all part of an interconnected mathematical family. You see, when you break this sentient space-time reality down, we're all born into families. And what's happened here is our families are supposed to be connected and working towards a common goal, but because we didn't realize, one, we were in a sentient space-time reality, and two, we were being manipulated by an unseen pattern, we've let our defensive mechanisms separate our families, divide our families. And this is because we're designed to be defensive. So what our families have done is they've overinvested in strategies that are going to help their families more than the families they coexist with. They want to leave a legacy or a better experience or an advantage to the future generations. Now, when we do this again and again and again over hundreds of thousands of years, right? What's going to happen is this: we're going to continue to create imbalance at the larger level. And we've gotten to this place where we've got all these families that have different ideas about how the nation and the world should be run. And that's what we're arguing and fighting about. Now, understanding what this construct is gives us a huge advantage. What we've done here is we've tried to make this simple for you. You see, this sentient space-time reality is governed by frequencies, and what we've done is we've divided the frequencies into the four quadrants of your body that they're connected with. Now, these frequencies, when they combine, create your physical appearance and make your physical presence possible. Without these frequencies, we wouldn't exist, but you have to understand this. These frequencies also govern us. And what they're governing us on is balanced choice. And what we're supposed to be doing here is creating an equal and balanced reality, even though we're designed to do the opposite. That's the challenge, you see. Now, if you're in balance with all of your teammates and working together with your teammates, all right, you're going to be in balance with these frequencies, at least on the left side. Now, how do we get in balance on the right side? Well, we have to contribute. Every individual on the team is expected to contribute every day to making sure that their family is going to do well, but not just their family. They have to invest in strategies that are going to benefit all the other families that surround them throughout the interconnected experience, okay? Same thing here. We should all be investing time every single day for our own individual benefit, but it better be in balance to make sure that all the other individuals are going to benefit from what we're doing too, or we as an individual will be out of balance with it. Same thing up here at the national level. Every individual within a nation should be contributing to that nation, but they should also understand this: we need to be very helpful and supportive of all the other nations we share this earth with so that what we're doing in our nation isn't going to hurt another nation. Now, if we do those three smaller things, what's going to happen here is we're going to create an interconnected global experience. We're going to have a peaceful and prosperous world with a stable climate, a stable environment. And what we've done is we've destabilized our climate and we've destabilized our environment. And that's because we've been over investing in these bottom two and underinvesting in these top two. Now, what has to happen here is we first have to come to the conclusion that we're in an interactive simulated experience designed to teach us how to interact as a family and how all the families in the world have to come together as a team and start to balance out how they spend their time to ensure all future generations get better. Now, there are immediate benefits to doing this. As soon as an individual commits to their team and as soon as an individual changes their routines, you see, we are emotional, we are mental, and we are physical. Now, we don't achieve the objective until we actually do it in the physical sense, meaning you have to make a change and you have to do something different and you have to balance. Once you balance and you continue to balance, you are now in alignment or in harmony with these frequencies. And what that will do is it will slow the damage and it will slow the aging process. Now, if you're in balance, you slow it. If you're out of balance, you accelerate the aging and the disease process. And depending on which one of these that you're struggling with, so if you're having problems with specific teammates, or if you're having problems balancing your specific routine, this will tell you exactly in your body where you're going to experience accelerated damage and where you'll have future states of disease. That's how this works. Now, to prove this to you, this is what we do. We do a 24-hour forecast, and that's what we're going to go talk about next here, is we're going to talk about what happens in this 24-hour forecast. So what this is day one, and it's zoomed in. And why we zoom it in is we want to, one, synchronize it to every time zone. Not everybody has good internet, so if you don't have good internet, you come down here, you find your time zone offset. Once you have the proper offset, this will hold for 10 seconds, you screenshot it, now you got it on your cell phone all day long. So if you don't have internet, no big deal. If you do have internet, you go to our homepage, health3connected.com. We've got a live feed. It's got a time bar that runs through this week sequence. And very, very important, you check it. I promise you, when you get defensive or when people around you get defensive, if you reference that time bar where we are within this sequence, you're going to see that it's happening when it's predicted. Predicted conflict, predicted stress. And knowing when this predicted conflict and stress comes empowers you to not be fooled by it, and you can actually resolve it and work out your differences with the people around you, which gives you an immediate health advantage, slows the aging process, and can stop future states of disease. Okay. Now, when we look at the overall electromagnetics today, obviously third person is high, high alert. We are at a 4 or above a 4 almost this entire 24-hour sequence. Same thing here at the combined. Does that mean we won't have problems at the first person level? Well, we might, especially if we start to argue with the people around us about the bigger picture, about who should be elected or what should be happening at the larger level. Don't do it. Don't buy into that today. That is a trap. It's only going to make things harder for you. Really take a deep breath. Don't make this any worse than it is. Now, here's the other part of this. I really want you to pay attention to the news, and I really want you to pay attention to the weather. Because as we get elevated and excited, and as our defensive mechanisms get us to act aggressively, you're going to see that weather patterns and social conflict also becomes more aggressive. That's how we make these predictions. Again, this is a predetermined negative future, and catastrophic events, that's the very definition of negativity. So for the next 24 hours, actually for the next really 3 straight days here. We really have to be concerned about all kinds of increased social tension that's gonna affect between nations that are currently feuding, and also all of these climate events that are ramping up all over the world. That is directly connected to this. All right, so we're gonna move on now, and we're gonna talk about alignments. Now, alignments are when two frequencies come together and amplify, and what this does is it makes it really easy for us to prove that you're in a mathematical construct. You see, 24/7, we're being tested on how well we do with our teammates and how well we're balancing our routines. But these moments right here are when two hands of the space-time clocks align. And what that means is two frequencies are amplifying, which is really going to affect a specific part of your body for a specific period of time. And the first one we're going to talk about here is this MP, okay? And this alignment is actually going to happen for 3 hours. And this has to do with how we get along with the older or more mature team members on our teams, our mothers and fathers, the leaders, and how we should be getting along with them. We should be having positive, cooperative relationship. We should be talking about our routines, asking about theirs. And if we're having problem respecting or getting along with these members, well, then expect you're going to have problems in these upper quadrants. And these problems are specifically going to happen during this alignment time. Now, this alignment is pretty strong and it's pretty long. I expect that people are going to experience headaches during this time, visual changes during this time, upper respiratory stuff during this time, increased tension in the musculoskeletal system if you're out of balance. The more out of balance you are, the more disrespectful you are to these teammates, the more you're going to feel stuff going on in here. All right, let's keep moving here. And we're going to stay on the space side, which is the first person or team perspective side. And that's this next blue alignment right here. And this is an ME, all right? This is not going to be as long. It's only an hour and a half long, but this one's stronger. In this case, this has to do with our younger members. And for our younger members, are you encouraging them to balance? Are you helping them develop the skill that they're going to share with the team and help the world with? You see, we all have a special skill, but the thing is, we got to be able to balance the time we have. We can't just overinvest in our special skill and then underinvest in how we're contributing to our routine to ensure the world's a better place. This is all about balance. It's all about cooperation. How do older members get along with younger teammates, as well as how are younger teammates or peers getting along with their peers? If you struggle with that at either place, then you are going to have problems with this left lower quadrant of your body. That's just how that works. Now, this alignment is going to coincide with another alignment, this time alignment on this side. And this has to do with individual routines. Remember, on the time side, this is about our routines if they're balanced. And on the space side, this is about how we get along with our teammates. This specifically is about individual and family investment. So if you see these bottom colors, individual and family. Now, if you are spending a ton of time to make sure that your individual future is going to be great, but when you spend the time, it actually makes it so it's better for you and it's not going to be as great for the other people around you, you're going to be out of balance and you're going to feel stuff in this right lower quadrant. That's just how it works. The more out of balance you are, the more you're going to feel things be unpleasant. This is a biofeedback system. It's that simple. There are negative consequences and there are positive consequences. If you're in balance, you get a reward. If you're out of balance, not so much. All right, so that's the alignments today. It's not a super strong, long day of alignments, but there is overlap here, okay? So these two alignments are going to be testing the lower quadrants of the body, so I would definitely expect that people are going to feel some stuff going on in these lower quadrants. All right, so let's keep moving here. Now we're going to talk about the testing sequence. So the testing sequence is very similar. We have this design very similar to how the electromagnetics are. If we get more than 4 frequencies in a quadrant at any given time, that's a lot of frequencies. So when we just scan this, we can see the biggest quadrant of concern is going to be the lower left, well above a 4 this whole time. Now, the one that's probably the lightest is the upper right, and then the upper left and the lower right are right at that number 4, okay? Now, that's all the frequencies that are going to come through in the next 24 hours. What these two graphs are the 10 strongest frequencies. And these are what we call the macro frequencies or the larger frequencies, and it's because they don't move. This is where these frequencies are going to sit for this next 24-hour period of time. Now, there's a lot of overlap today. What do I mean? So, first of all, we've got this separated for you. So, you know if you're struggling with first person, your teammates, or if you're struggling with a balanced routine. So, for example, there's only one here in the upper right quadrant. So, if you get right quadrant pain and it goes on for most of this period of time, we know darn well that this has to do with your teammates and you're having trouble getting along with the more mature teammates on the team. You see, there's nothing over here in third person. All right. Now, that's if this goes on for the whole 24-hour period. We know darn well this is what you want to focus on. Now, all the other quadrants, there's overlap today. So this is kind of messy. This is why it's important that you document what you feel, where your body hurts, how long it hurts for, and when it goes away. And then we can show you how to use our software so you can know exactly if it was first person problems or teammate problems you had, or if it was your routine problems you had that are creating this dysfunction. Now, don't overcomplicate this. It's this simple. You better get along with all your teammates and you better not cause stress for yourself or them. And you better start changing your routines so tomorrow's not going to look like today if that happens, because obviously things are way out of balance here. Everybody's routines have to change drastically. Big changes need to happen. If that's not happening, then damage is going to continue to happen here. Now, our software will help you strategize on how to get your body well as possible, as fast as possible by knowing where you need to invest first. But in truth, we need to all be investing in these 8 things simultaneously, constantly, if you want things to get better for yourself. All right, so that's enough about that. Now, we're going to end here about talking about what we always do at the end. We've got the rest of 2024 posted. All of the unseen electromagnetics, the organized pattern of chaos, it's right here for you. You got no excuses. When this elevates, it's going to engage your defensive design. You're going to see the people around you are going through the same thing. You're going to notice weather patterns go up. You're going to notice the conflict at the larger level goes up. There's no more mystery here. Now that we understand how this works, now that we understand the overall mathematics that create our experiences, we can actually use this to our advantage and we can start to create a better ending or a positive ending for all of us. Just like you can create a better genetic outcome. You see, when we're born, we have a predetermined genetic predisposition to certain diseases and illnesses. Now, if we make choices that are healthy and if we make choices that are balanced, we can actually change our predetermined genetic history at the individual level. The same thing applies here at the collective level, but we need lots of people to do this in order for that to happen. One person changing their routine isn't going to change anything, but regions of people changing their routines, that will change everything. That's what we're here to help you with. That's what we're here to accomplish. We want a better, positive world for all of us where we all get healthy and we all get better. And I'm going to end on this. If we do this at the collective level, and for every individual that invests in this and does this till the day they die, they get out of the negative feedback loop we're currently in. Again, this is just math. We can show you this on our website, not a problem, and we can show you there are 2 ways you exist. We want to help you get out of this negative feedback loop and get to somewhere where good things happen all the time instead of bad things happen all the time. Take the time, check it out. It's worth it. We'll see you next 24.